Hello, my name is TJ Welch, and welcome to episode 18 of Sonic Lobotomy. Today's guest is from London, England. It's the Bermondsey Joyriders. I have Gary, formerly of Cock Sparrer. I have Marty, who used to be in the punk band Chelsea. And I have Evan on drums, who's from New Jersey. Give it up, Bermondsey Joyriders.
Thanks very much indeed. This is our theme tune. It's called Bermondsey Joyriders.
All right, fantastic performance from the Bermondsey Joyriders. How do you pronounce it?
The Bermondsey Joyriders. It's a place in South London. It's like a Docklands area where both Martin's father worked as a docker and my father worked as a docker. Martin's lived in the area for some years. I have family in the area. And the name Bermondsey Joyriders came about because I was round my aunt's house one day and I see a headline in a South East London newspaper. Bermondsey Joyriders strike again. And what was going on at that point in time was a lot of people, I suppose they were called yuppies at the time, were moving into the Docklands area. These warehouses along the dockside were being converted into luxury flats and apartments. And with them, they brought their very expensive flash cars, Porsches and BMWs and Aston Martins. And these cars were probably worth more and more expensive than the actual houses that the locals were living in. And so sort of young lads, 16 to 17, took it on themselves to express their, discontent with that situation and started to steal these cars and race them at speed through the night and then ceremoniously and ritualistically burn those cars out and just leave them there. And I'm not advocating that. I just saw that as a great headline, and though I don't advocate it, I do understand it. And there's the name, the Bermondsey Joyriders.
It's a result of the class struggle.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah. there's some new material that I heard. I'm familiar with your older stuff naturally.
Yeah.
But there's like the first couple songs seem to be newer compositions. Tell me about the first song you played.
The theme tune, instrumental, that came out of me listening to people like Link Ray and a lot of kind of 60s surf music. And I can't really play like that, but I like to think that I can kind of get that atmosphere. I don't really hit where I want to hit it, but you know, you try and something else happens. It's like sort of experimenting, isn't it? You know, you sort of you think you're going to try and invent this, and then all of a sudden, just by chance, that comes out of it. So yeah, that's really how that came about. Me just trying to sort of get a kind of Link Ray crossed with a 60s sort of surf sort of sound, like, you know.
Chasing all the darkness out of my mind. Chasing all the darkness out of my mind.
Part of my problem.
Yeah.
It's a song with a lot of bad attitude. Can you elaborate on it?
Well, one of the guitarists that influenced me was a guy called Johnny Thunders.
Oh yeah.
And what I decided to do was write a tribute to Johnny Thunders, and I used the title of several New York Dolls songs and pinned them together in a collage of titles to make a story. And the song goes, Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Johnny Jet Boy, both heading off for a Planet Joy. They drop some pills on a subway train. Don't you start me talking like a chatterbox again. And then the chorus, part of my problem is that I'm a human being. It's kind of rounds it off. As I say, it's a tribute to Johnny Thunders, a guitarist who inspired me. My favourite guitarists were Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood, Johnny Thunders. People who have got that kind of, barroom rock and roll is what I like.
Frankenstein and Johnny Jet Boy, both heading off on a Planet Joy. I gotta drop some pills on a subway train. Don't you stop me talking like a chatterbox again. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Yeah. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Yeah. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Meanwhile, back in the States, and a bad detective investigates every bit of trash in my private world. I'm still looking for my mystery girl. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Yeah. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Yeah. Part of my problem is that I'm a human Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Yeah. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Part of my problem is that I'm a human being. Yeah. Oh yeah.
We've got some punk rock royalty here. I'd like to introduce these guys to the audience out there. First off, start with you, Martin. Let's hear about your credentials.
Martin Stacey, played guitar with Chelsea early days after Billy Idol, Tony James left, and with Gene, helped write Right to Work and one of my own, High Rise Living. That's it, early days.
High Rise Living, song about
living in a high rise block of flats.
It's not a pleasant thing.
Well, well. It started off. The idea is a good idea. You know, flats for multi-living area for many people. Get them out the slums, put them in a nice place. New, everything's there. Central heating, bars, but people are territorial, so it doesn't work like that. The lifts, everyone lifts get wrecked. The lobbies get wrecked. It doesn't end up a nice place to live.
Yeah. Did you grow up or live in a high rise?
No, but my relatives and family did. We all moved out when we were younger, but that's where I used to go back the weekends, and yeah, it's not a great place to live, but you've got to live somewhere.
And you got a good song out of it.
Yeah, got a song out of it, so that
there
was
you go.
My protest about it. Well, I suppose in those days, I mean, what it was, I suppose for the first time in my life, I'd felt part of something, rather than just observing something or being on the tail end of something. It was actually part of something, and it was developing as we was actually doing it. So that's a pretty unique experience, really. And you may not realise it at the time, but we sort of did, because nothing like that had gone before, really. And that was good and exciting, really, at times. So, yeah. And I think Gary, we used to play the Roxy quite a lot. Chelsea used to play there quite a lot and play with a lot of bands. Heartbreakers were over quite a bit, Johnny Thunders.
Well, your first ever gig was at the Roxy supporting the Clash.
Yeah, that was the first ever gig I ever played.
It's not a bad start, is it?
Wow,
that's not a bad start, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time I stepped on stage was supporting the Clash, and the thing about the Roxy, I mean, some places here might have them, but the Roxy stage, they had a post in the middle of the stage, so you had to watch that post.
Oh yeah.
And the second song, turn around with a guitar, dong, against the post, and that was it. The rest of the set was not in tune. In those days, you never had electronic tuners. You was all in the dressing room trying to listen to the thing with a tuning fork in one ear and the guitar in the other and trying to get through. But that post caught quite a lot of people out, walking back into it, walking forward into it, not seeing it. But that was our first gig, supporting the Clash, and yeah, a bit of an eye-opener, really, because the Clash, even then, I mean, we were all in it together, but you could see the Clash were, a notch above everybody else, really. So.
Well, the shows are very physical, people pogoing and spitting at you like you see. And
no, that never happened, first of all. That happened as soon as the press got hold of it. It took a few months. It was very underground, and it was quite a small community. And it was only when the press got hold of it and started putting it in the papers, that sort of like, it brought a different element to the shows. Brought kids from out of town, and then they got into it, and then the spitting sort of started. Who knows where it come from? I don't know where the spitting came from. But that's when it sort of started then, and when it went sort of like a bit overground, and yeah, it wasn't easy days then.
But one of the most physical gigs that I ever went to was to see the Damned in a dive bar club called the Hope and Anchor in Islington, and it was dangerously packed in there. I mean, it was like that, if you'd have to ask the bloke next to you to scratch your nose, you couldn't move, and I think you was there that night. Was you at that gig?
I can't remember. The Damned were a great band. I see their loads.
To me, they were a proper punk band. The Damned.
I think so too. They were great.
I mean, the Clash were again like a punk rock and roll band.
Political. The Clash were.
But the Damned really truly were a punk band.
Captain Sensible played naked once when I saw him. No, that's pretty punk rock.
Yeah, so I've seen him naked too.
It's not a good thing to see naked. We've got to clarify that.
Yeah.
This song I wrote many, many years ago, and I understand that quite a few bands still cover it. Thanks very much for doing that. Here it is again, from me, who wrote it, again and again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's people down the street and they don't know what's going on. They don't know where they're wrong. I got no time to explain the things they
Well, I started off playing guitar in a band called Janus. This was in 1974.
Janus, like, it rhymes with anus.
Yeah, as I think you might have pointed out once before, anus with a J in front of it. Or Jane Arse, as somebody recently...
But that's like a Greek god and Janus or something?
Well, I asked what it meant at the time, and you know, I was laughed at for not knowing. But in actual fact, TJ, when I look back on it, I'm glad I didn't know what it meant. Anyway, that was in 1974, and I joined that band as a guitarist.
I saw some pictures of you with long hair, and underneath it said Janus was a progressive rock band, maybe like a Genesis.
Yeah, they were when I joined them, and crikey, I thought I'd never ever see that clip again. And you know, because I never keep anything. I don't even have a record of anything that I've played on. I don't have a copy of Running Riot or anything. You know, I usually give them away to fans and stuff like that. And so when that was brought to my attention, I was very surprised to see that that clipping. And yeah, Janus were a kind of progressive rock band when I joined them, and I tried to turn them on to sort of stuff like Slade and T-Rex and the Rolling Stones and the New York Dolls and that kind of thing.
And it worked. And
Janus it did in the end, but it was a bit of a struggle because I must admit, I mean, I weren't the most democratic of people in those days. You know, I was an upstart, you know, and within, I guess, well, I'd only been in the band for 2 weeks, and I'm trying to change their name. You know, you're not creating yourself the easiest sort of most diplomatic route into people's sort of hearts.
Yeah. Tell me about the track Genuine. It's one of my favorite ones
okay.
that I've heard.
It's about the sort of like paradoxical nature that we all have, that we sometimes, more often than not, don't acknowledge. Everybody thinks they're right in an argument, otherwise people wouldn't argue, you know. And you've sometimes got to understand that actually is the crux of the situation. You are arguing with this other guy who thinks he's just as right as what you are, and you need to sort of step back from that and think to yourself, right, well, okay. He's got, you know, everybody's got a point of view, and so, you know, what I tried to do with that song was bring those sort of paradoxicals to the sort of...
And realize that character in yourself.
Of course, yeah.
And if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. Sort of, right?
Yeah, as long as you agree with me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's good. I mean, that's a unique subject for a song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out nice.
Yeah, I mean, I say that the lyrics is sometimes I'm as holy as a nun, and sometimes I'm as evil as a snake. Yeah, sometimes I'm a real good guy, and sometimes I know I'm an arsehole. I'll be the first to admit that.
Okay, this next song, we're going to have to slow it down a little bit because we're getting old. Well, apart from Evan back here, but just forgive us, just for this one number. Sometimes I'm more holy than a nun. Sometimes I'm more evil than a snake. Sometimes I can be a whole lot of fun. Sometimes I'm a phony and a fake. Sometimes I receive the glory. Yeah. Sometimes I ain't got a clue what it's gotta take. Sometimes I can be a whole lot of fun. Sometimes I'm a phony and so fake. Dancing Tottenham Arsenal, Queen's Park Rangers, Fulham and West. Young thing I really love, young thing I really understand. Football.
Well, we're talking about gear. I noticed both of you guys are playing orange gear, and I've always been a big fan of orange. Whenever you'd see like an old Black Sabbath video or Led Zeppelin, there would be orange gear up on stage. And
you're trying to get us to admit that we're prog rockers again, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Orange gear is fantastic gear. I used it first in 76, 77, and I started to use other stuff like Fender and Ampeg, which is all great gear. But when I came back to do this tour, and Cliff Cooper, the owner and creator of Orange, had done a very, very good deal for us on this Orange equipment, which we're very indebted to him for. I plugged in to an Orange amp for the first time in about 30 years, and I just thought to myself, why haven't I been using this stuff? I love Ampeg and I love Fender. They've got very distinctive sounds, but for me, Orange, it suits my guitar style and playing. And it was great to be playing Orange through Orange equipment again.
Yeah, it made a difference in your sound.
It really did, yeah.
It's so yeah. The sound is so thick, and it's not too distorted. It's very clear. It's nice.
And the other good thing that happened just before the tour, I had to get some guitar parts for my Godin guitars that I use, and I couldn't get them from a local guitar shop. So I phoned up Godin, and I spoke to a guy there called Fred DeSanto, and I had a little bit of a chat with him, and he seemed to like the same sort of music as me, and we struck up a bit of a conversation. He went onto my MySpace and listened to what I was doing. He said, "Oh," he said, "yeah." He's like, "So you're making good use of those Godin guitars. How about, I suggest that, we send you a couple for and I said, "Yeah, why not?" I said, "I use them all the time, and that's just going to help me out." And so, again, both to Cliff at Orange and to Fred at Godin, thanks very much. Came in handy. Cheers.
Over in England, we have a game called football, and that was a track that we just played, our dedication and tribute to those people that play it and watch it week in, week out, no matter what the weather is. There's another situation that goes on at football, apart from the actual match, of course, and that is the fans. They are the match, in actual fact. They're the zen side of the game. Without them, there's no atmosphere, no nothing. One of the things the fans like to do is bait each other, try and wind each other up, create more of an atmosphere than there might actually be. This is our song to them. This is our tribute to those fans that watch football every Saturday, day in and day out. This is called Who Are Ya? 1, 2, 3, 4. Who are ya? You what? Who are ya? You what? 25-4, 2003, freaking outside of with me in the bottom road. Baby on the first sky, walking the dog like a May Mouse. Joyriders, thank you.
You did a song called Cafe Racer. Now, Cafe Racer to me is like the old Triumph bikes and the BSA bikes. The real fast motorcycles from the 60s were called Cafe Racers, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's a tribute really to those guys who put together those bikes and Ace Caff in London and Tri Nortons and Norbizas and things like that. So it's a bit of a tribute to the guys who sort of pioneered that Cafe Racer, that culture. Do
you ride yourself, Martin?
I do. Yeah, I do, and I've got an Italian bike, a Guzzi, Motor Guzzi. It's about 25, 26 years old.
Is it a Guzzi California? Or?
No, it's nothing like that. It's a street racer. It's a Le Mans, but I've stripped it down, and that's what I like. So yeah, I wouldn't be cruising like this. I'm down like that. So.
What's a Guzzi? Is it a twin or a triple?
It's a twin.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
a twin.
Yeah,
horizontally opposed like that. So it's a twin. So V. So.
Yeah, I've got the. Suzuki Intruder, you know, the Harley Davidson Japanese. Okay. But yeah.
Well, they're nice, but they're for a different country, really. Those sort of bikes work here. Harleys work here. When you look at the Harleys, you can see how they work. But in like London, they don't sort of really.
It's
work,
always
really.
raining, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Well, that was a great tune. It's always good to hear a motorcycle song.
Yeah, we like it. So that's our tribute to.
Yeah, and quite a few people that are into motorbike culture have picked up on that and requested if they can use that as their theme tune on their MySpace page, which is, you know, a great sort of tribute and accolade to us as well. So yeah, it's beginning to work for us. Yeah.
It's called Cafe Racer. He likes the odd pill, and the cafe racer's got nerves of steel. Cafe racer, cafe racer. Racer, he lives for speed. Cafe racer, it nerves for speed. Cafe racer. Cafe racer.
You've had some help booking a lot of shows in America on this particular tour, and it was Pooch Booking.
Pooch Bookings. We was very fortunate to meet up with Pooch Bookings, and in particular Roz, the head of that agency. She'd heard of us. She asked us to send a CD in, and we only had a few sort of demos at the time, so we sent that. And I sent a few press cuttings in. And she seemed suitably impressed to say, like, OK, I put a tour together for you. And we went, great. And next thing we know, we've got this tour that's like coast to coast, like starting in, and we thought we was going to get sort of like half a dozen dates. And when you suddenly realise that you're going to do 12,000 miles around the circumference of the USA, you suddenly start realising that you are in for a ride, and that you start to think to yourself, have I really got what it takes to do this now? You know, it's all right sitting in your bedroom fantasising about doing that, but to actually go and do that, and now you're going to get found out whether you can do it or not.
It's a big country. It's not like driving to Scotland.
Well, that's right. I mean, and that's what we think in England. We think, like we go up to Manchester, yeah, say 250 miles. And we can do it. But, you know, 250 miles don't even get you out of a state.
Yeah, we've been averaging at least 300 to 350 miles a day on the road. I mean,
Wow. Road warriors.
it's been great, though. I mean, we've all been getting along really well. The songs are coming out good. Like I said, people are coming out to shows and really showing support, and that's the best thing. You know, that's
Yeah,
the most gratifying thing. That 45 minutes on stage makes up for any, you know, tire blowing out or, you know,
Yeah.
having
It
to
wipes
go
the slate-
trade in the
wipes-
van for
yeah.
another one and problems like that. It makes up for it when you get on stage immediately.
Yeah,
The
it
energy
wipes
is
the slate
great.
clean when you're playing on stage. You know, don't matter what you've gone through during the day. And you know, there's the three members of the band and their merch girl, the lovely Kristen, and we're four of us.
She's been a great help for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you hook up with Kristen?
Me and Martin first met her, and that was in a club called Biaki's down in Southern California, and she had a great energy, and I think Martin said that, you know, we should sort of like grab her and see if she would be interested in working with us.
She's very road savvy too. She
Good.
knows how to handle herself on the road. You know, she's very good. You know, she's very useful on the road. It's very good.
This is New Jersey Evans' rock and roll drum solo song.
How about you, Evan? Now you just joined these guys on this tour,
Very recently.
and I hear there's a good story behind that one. But first off, tell me about where you're from and how it all came about.
Oh, I hail from New Jersey, very fine place, northern New Jersey, West Orange. I started taking lessons when I was very young, probably about 8 years old. I started taking lessons with a man named Damon Weber out of Glenn Weber Drum Studios in New Jersey. Took lessons for about 9 years all throughout school. Graduated, I decided to move to California, ended up moving back and forth and back and forth. Couldn't really get anything going for a little while, and then all of a sudden I get this call, you know, somebody needs a drummer for a U.S. tour, and boom, I'm on the road again. Went and met up with these two guys. We had one rehearsal, before our first show, which was like 2 days before our first show. We just jammed it, made it happen.
And you drove cross country.
Yeah.
to-
Let me tell you something. I was desperately in need of a drummer. There was 2 days to go before the tour. I'd been in America for a week, which is what I like to do. I like to come here a week before. But the drummer that was our original drummer wasn't going to do the tour. And I had 2 days to find a drummer. And the band that I originally met when I first came to play in America, and I made my debut in a bar called the Championship Bar in New Jersey, which Terry Loader booked me into. He introduced me to a band called the F-Bombers, who I think we had here last time. I think, great band. And I phoned Kim up. I said, Kim, you know, she's the leader of that band. I said, listen, I've got 2 days to go before a US tour. It's a coast-to-coast tour. We're starting off in Los Angeles. We're travelling the complete circumference of the USA, and I haven't got a drum. What am I going to do? She said, phone this guy. You will not find a better drummer than this guy, Evan. I went, great. What's his number? And she gave me his number, and I looked at it. I went, well, where's that? That don't look like South California to me, Southern California. She went, no, it's Florida. I went, I'm in South California. Yeah, it's 2,500 miles away.
I was in Orlando when I got the call, and I had to pack up my Cardinella Customs and all my belongings, and I moved just right down to Southern California and got on rehearsal one night, and 2 days later we were in Oregon for our first show.
Well, you sound like you've been with them for years.
Thank you.
And those custom drums certainly do sound huge.
Yeah.
A real nice kit.
Yeah, real good guy named Anthony Cardinella out of New Jersey, makes custom kits. Very good.
Okay, it's always a great pleasure to come on to TJ's show. We get publicity out of it, helps us get gigs, and the thing is, I love TJ coming up and playing with us because he knows quite a lot about music, and he deserves it. This is Running Riot. That was the punk rock version, incidentally.
Gary, I noticed since I last time saw you, maybe a year ago or so, your face has a few. Oh, there you go, Marty. You lost your mic. Your face has a few marks, and it looks like maybe you got into a brawl with some sort of an animal or something.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm wearing the glasses. I know it looks a bit posy and looks like I'm trying to sort of put that rock and roll sort of vibe on. But what happened was we played a great gig at a bar called Locals Only. The crowd went crazy. It was absolutely packed to the rafters. 4 or 5 girls jumped on the stage and in their enthusiasm dragged me down into the audience. I went down, smashed me face on the floor. So yeah, that's what happened. And that's part, you know, these gigs we're playing, they don't have security. You know, they hold about 350 people. And when people decide to go bonkers, when they go nuts, once they get that idea in their head, they're going to go nuts. And you know, that's what we want. But sometimes, you know, there's a circumstance, and this is what happened.
Well, it's good that your music can still elicit that type of reaction,
Yeah.
but you know, the line between performer and audience can sometimes be very thin.
Yeah.
And when you cross it, it can be painful.
Yeah, but you know, that's part of being in a rock and roll band. Otherwise, you know, what's the alternative? We have to stay at home and watch telly and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
This is called Rock and Roll Demon. This is our last number. Thank you. Bad scar from all the games you have played. But when I look a little closer, I see you planned it that way. Here comes a rock and roll demon coming to get you. You can keep your body, but you can't keep your mind. A rock and roll demon coming to get you. You can keep your body, but you can't keep your mind. Must think I'm some kind of fool. Just bombed yesterday. But I can't bite my lip, and I can't walk away. But there's a rock and roll demon coming to get you. You can keep your body, but you can't keep your mind. Demon coming to get you. You can keep your body, but you can't keep your mind. guitar. That's Martin Stacey, original founding member of Chelsea, wrote The Right to Work. On the drums out in New Jersey, Speak Easy Evan. Thank you, God bless.